I've worn my hair in lots of different ways. Lots. Okay. Okay, trust me. Lots of different ways. Long, short, curly, straight, bangs, no bangs. I had a perm in 7th grade. That was a mistake. Used Manic Panic to dye my hair magenta. But about 6 months ago, I chose a new do, a dramatic change. I shaved my head. I chose baldness, and my daughter, Gianna, inspired me to do so. So about 15 years ago when she was born, she had a little bit of hair on her head like most babies do, and as she grew older, it grew longer and curlier and thicker, and she loved to have it done up with bows and clips. But when she was just about 2 years old, I noticed a smooth, quarter-sized patch of hairless skin on the top of her head, and I said, "What's that?" "Okay, I'm calling the doctor." And the doctor said, "Come in, have a look." The doctor looked and said, "I want to run a few tests, but it looks like alopecia areata." And that's an autoimmune condition in which the immune cells attack the hair follicles, causing hair loss. So as we waited for test results, then we saw the dermatologist, then we tried a treatment. Gianna's hair continued to fall out. The medicine wasn't working, and the dermatologist wasn't surprised because, as he said, we still haven't figured out a way to get hair to grow back yet. Within 3 months, we couldn't hide her bald spots with pigtails and bows anymore. In fact, she had more bald spots than hairy spots. So we buzzed it all off. And within another 3 months, all of her hair fell out, including her eyebrows and her eyelashes. So there she was, at 2.5 years old, with no hair. And there we were, left to parent her through this. How would we prepare her for preschool? How would we prepare preschool for her? They say the major effects of alopecia are emotional. And that's what support groups are for. The Children's Alopecia Project is one. And when we found out they were having a conference called Alopecia Palooza in Philadelphia, we went. And it had an impact on Gianna immediately. This little girl actually wore that hat more days than not for a whole year. And when she walked into the registration table staffed by 3 bald women, she took off her hat as if to say, "Hey, I'm like you and you're like me." And our involvement in alopecia events over the years have helped me as well. Hearing insights from other parents gave me some idea of what Gianna might experience, and it gave me a stronger sense of how to parent her through this. For example, I learned to let the adults in her life know about her alopecia ahead of time. So schools and coaches and camp directors all got a letter from me. And as she grew older, she took on more of that responsibility for herself, deciding when and how and to whom she would share her hair story. In the support groups, we heard stories about bullying and teasing and isolation that kids with alopecia can experience. And fortunately, Gianna's been spared most of those horrible things and had very supportive schools and classmates and teams and neighbors. Still, for as long as Gianna's had alopecia, I have wanted it to be just as normal for girls to not have hair as it is for them to wear eyeglasses or write with their left hands. I didn't like how many people stared, and I didn't even want her to have a hair story to tell. So about 6 months ago, that grew into an urge to shave my head, and I asked Gianna, "What do you think?" And she said a version of, "You do you, but I kind of want you to do it." So that night, my mind raced. If I do it tomorrow, it'll spoil Audrey's birthday celebration. So I'll wait till next week. But no, there's that big event with all those polished networker types, and I don't want the attention. Okay, so it's going to be during spring break then, when I have a week where nobody will see me. Wait. Clearly, I still had an attachment to this idea that hair has special meaning about worthiness. But hair is fun and beautiful and a means of expression, and attaching that to worthiness is limiting and harmful. So what if baldness was a common aesthetic choice for women? Maybe people would stare less often. Maybe they would see Gianna's spirit first instead of her hairdo. Maybe they would extend that grace to others and even themselves. But more than that, Gianna wore hats and scarves to school. She left the house for 10 years covered up until last year in 8th grade, the first day of school, she made a deliberate choice to go uncovered. In a sense, she was choosing baldness. But more than that, what she was choosing to do was go fully into the world, comfortable with herself and proud of her whole self. It's just something I hope for all of us, no matter what grows or doesn't grow from the tops of our heads. Thank you.